Welcome and thank you for joining us today. So on popular demand, I'm actually delighted to conduct this session on sales reporting. So what I'll show you today is available only on our cloud version and not open source. Open source actually has reporting, but what I'll be showing you today is pertinent to the on-demand version of Vtiger. So today's agenda. So what I'll try to do is to give you a glimpse of what is possible in Vtiger with a few use cases for the different kinds of reports we support. It's going to be pretty challenging, for me to cover all kinds of reports. So we will look at a few concrete examples because you can really mix and match and slice and dice data any way you want. And what is relevant is, for sales, what are the few reports that are truly essential? And I'll also show you how to generate these reports so that for your own use cases, you will be able to, extract all the data that's in Vtiger and slice it and dice it the way you want and generate the reports that you want to see. All right, so let's actually look at this funny statistics actually I found on the net. It's interesting to see actually a lot of companies charge a lot of money to generate reports. Here, this company charges $250 for one report, one Salesforce report. I mean, it may be fairly complex to actually develop and prepare that report in Salesforce, but I found that actually to be quite exorbitant. If one report costs $250 for one customer, there's got to be some complication, in preparing and developing that report. Yes, reporting can be a mess, right? Because data can be resident in multiple locations, multiple sources. To extract all the data that you need and make sense out of it may not be that straightforward. But the good news is reporting does not need to be messy or expensive. One of the things that you always want to do is ask what you're seeking and why. Because in Vtiger, most of the data needed for sales reporting can be captured in the CRM, in Vtiger CRM, including custom fields that your business may need. You can bring in data from relevant modules like organizations, contacts, etc., because most of the information pertaining to sales is contained in opportunities. But there may be fields that are relevant to an opportunity that's contained in an organization or a contact that you want to pull up into your report, which you can do so with Vtiger. You just need to ensure the data needed for your reports is actually captured inside of Vtiger. So if it's not inside Vtiger, then there is no way for us to expose the data for any kind of reports. Okay, so in Vtiger, we have 4 key components of sales reporting. Not all of these are conventional reports, with rows and columns, because we have insights, we have charts, we have a whole bunch of other things. Sales insights is, I would say, it's not your traditional reporting because it's very much an insights-driven approach, and it gives you actionable insights, to do something when something goes wrong with your sales operation. So I'm going to cover this towards the end. We also had a dedicated webinar for Sales Insights, and I will be sharing the recording, once we send out the link for the recording for this webinar. Okay, we will include the recording link for the Sales Insights webinar as well. But I will spend a few minutes, maybe even 5 or 10 minutes on Sales Insights today. Second is Kanban views. Third, I've bucketed both pivot reports and detailed reports. Finally, the traditional charts. So let's start with Kanban views. I think this is probably the most exciting thing. Let's say I'm a sales manager and I want to quickly visualize what is cooking in my team's funnel. For instance, I want to know what are the top deals that are cooking, who is working on them, what is the status of these deals, when are they expected to close, have any of them slipped, have any of them stalled. So all these questions I want to be able to answer quickly in minutes without spending any time generating any report. Further, I want to be able to determine if any of these deals needs my attention. So for this use case, we will use a business called GrassPods. So GrassPods specializes in selling surveillance, audio, video, and Wi-Fi equipment to businesses. So they serve North America, EU, and Latin America, and they serve all verticals. So this is the business that we are going to use, that is using Vtiger sales reporting capability. Okay, so let's jump into Vtiger. Okay, so can everybody see my screen? There's a question. Karen, I'm assuming that everybody is able to see my screen?
Yes, that's correct, Krishna, we can.
Okay, thank you. So this is how a typical Kanban view in Vtiger would look like. So let's try and make sense out of this. So on the top row where you have the arrows are the sales stages of the sales process that I have defined. So if you look at the pick list values for the sales process, I have basically simplified it so that it's easier to explain. So I have the sales stages as new, qualified, demo delivered, under negotiation, ready to close, closed lost, and closed won. So under each sales stage, you'll see the amount and the number of deals. So under new, the total amount of all the opportunities that are in new state is 88,500, and there are 8 deals in the new state. And when I look down here, it'll tell me all the deals that are there under new and gives me all the details I need to know. This is the name of the opportunity, and this is the agent, the sales rep that's working on this deal, and in this case it's Isabella, and this is the expected close date, April 29th, and since it's green, that means that it's still within, it's still not past the expected close date. And you can also go into the detailed view of the opportunity, or actually delete the opportunity, or you can even move this opportunity from one place to another. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for now. And you'll also see the customer name here, IQ, Buds is the name of the customer, and you can actually launch a detailed view right from here. So all this information I can visualize in minutes. I know actually what is going on. So what I typically do is I start off from the right hand side. I want to look at the ready to close deals because these are the ones that are likely to close and likely to close quickly. But there's a couple of alarming things for me here. And look at this red dot next to the name of the opportunity. So it's basically telling me that this opportunity has been idle for 7 months, which is not a good thing. So these two opportunities have been idle. That means there has been no progress. It has been sitting in idle, in ready to close. So there's a good chance that I may or may not win these two opportunities. If I'm convinced and I have a consensus from the sales rep who forgot to actually mark this as closed lost, I can actually take this opportunity and actually mark it as closed lost from the Kanban view. All right. Now, the other important thing to note here is, let's say you want to bring in other fields into this. You're not, there may be one other field, region. For example, region you want to see here, whether this deal pertains to North America or EU or Latin America, you will have to add that field from the opportunity customization screen. Let's actually do it right now. So I'll go here and then I go to the fields and layout. So what you want to do is I look for the field that I want to add. All right, so it's already there. So region is the field that I want to add. It's right here. So all I have to do is I click on the header. So make region a header field, and then it will pop up on the Kanban view automatically. So let's do this now and see if it does come up. So we'll go back to opportunities. And if you see here, North America, EU, and all the regions for each deal has popped up. I'm using the terms deal and opportunity interchangeably, so just so that you know. All right. So this is how a typical sales pipeline would look. On the left-hand side, you'll have a lot of opportunities. As these deals move through the funnel, a lot of opportunities actually start exiting from specific stages, and then towards the end you're likely to have fewer deals than what you started off with. This is probably a little bit of an exaggeration, since it's actually demo data, not real customer data, or it's not even our own team's data, so it's a little bit of an exaggeration. All right, so this is pretty much what Kanban views give you. So we don't have a way to export this into PDF yet, because if a manager wanted to see this and they did not want to log in to Vtiger, to see what's happening, what would be good is to actually be able to generate a PDF of this Kanban view and share it with your manager, email it, or share it in other ways. With your managers who don't use the CRM on a regular basis. So that's a feature we will be planning to add. All right, so let's go back here. Okay, so this actually brings us to our first poll. All right, so so this is directly relevant to Kanban. Okay, so I've launched the poll. If you can please take a moment to see what is relevant for your business. I think it'll help us, and also it'll be informative for the rest of the audience as well. So I'll give it maybe a minute for everybody to kind of go through this. Okay, so almost 50% have voted. So I'll close the poll now. Thank you. All right, so let's look at pivot reports now. So when would anybody use pivot reports? This is particularly useful when you need to group data by sales reps, time periods, region, industry, or different dimensions. And when you need counts like number of deals, totals, averages, minimum, maximum, etc. And then also if you need to pull in fields from multiple modules, for example, in an opportunity report or a deal report, you want to pull out the industry vertical for an organization. So that's not actually contained in the opportunity. So you'll have to go into the organization record and fetch that field from the organization record that is associated with the opportunity. So let's go ahead and generate our Q1 2017 sales report using pivot reports in Vtiger. So first is you have to decide what metrics matter to you. It could be number of deals won, number of deals lost, the total dollar amount of the deals that you won, the total dollar amount of the deals that you lost, average deal size of the deals won, average deal size of the deals lost, etc. And then you have to decide on the layout. The best thing to do with reporting is imagine how you want the report to look like. Even capture it in a spreadsheet like I have done here. That way it'll enable you to map this to Vtiger reporting, pivot reports fairly easily. Without that, if you just jump in and start playing with the pivot reports, it can be a challenge, and it can also be very frustrating. All right. In addition, so what I'm going to do is I want to know the total number of deals. I want to know the amount and the average deal size, and I want to know it for January, February, and March. That's Q1 of 2017 for all my sales reps, and I also want to know the total. Okay, and then I'll show you how to add further drill down by product, by region, industry. The challenge with this is the more dimensions you add, the more difficult the report becomes to read or to interpret. So I'll show you what I mean. All right, let's jump into pivot reports. All right, so this is a window where I've gone into the reports section of Vtiger. The way to get there is from menu. On the left hand side, you'll see reports. Just click on that and it'll drop you into the reporting screen. And I have created reports under a folder called Sales Performance Reports. So the first one is Q1 2017 Sales Team Performance Report. This kind of tells me that it's a pivot report. This icon here, and the primary module is opportunities. The folder name where I'm storing this report is Sales Performance Reports, and the owner is Mark Hale, which happens to be the CEO of GrassParts. So let's actually go into this report. I'll actually show you how to build this report as well. All right, so if I go to customize, it takes me through all the steps. So here are all the steps that you need to complete to generate this particular report. First, you start off by entering a report name. Here it's Q1 2017 Sales Team Performance Report. The folder where I want to keep this report is Sales Performance Reports. And the primary module, in most of your sales reporting, it's highly likely that the primary module is opportunities, because most of the data is contained in the fields of opportunities. Because when you're looking at sales, almost all of the data is actually contained in opportunities. Opportunities also has things like organization name, contact name, even the secondary fields. But if you want to go deeper into an organization record, then you also need to select a secondary module. I've chosen organization because I want to be able to pull out the industry field for each opportunity. That is not a part of the opportunity. And a description. So here it's basically month-over-month comparison of sales rep metrics. And I want to share this report with Ari Gale and Liam Mason, who are actually the sales head and also the COO. And I want to run this report every month on the 1st at 12 a.m. And I want to email that report to the CEO, which is Mark Hale. And you can also send a specific email, which I have not chosen to enter here. And the file format that I want to choose is Excel. These things are common to all the reports. Okay. Now I have to select the filter conditions. So what I'm trying to do is I want the results of all the closed won opportunities in Q1. So what I have done is the sales stage of the opportunity should be closed won, and the actual close date should be in between 1st of January and 31st of March. For people who have actually used Vtiger extensively, you'll notice that the actual close date is not a default field. So I added this field for this webinar, and few of our customers have also asked us to add this field. And a workflow can actually update the actual close date when the deal is marked as either closed won or closed lost. So we have that workflow actually configured. So if you would like that, we can actually configure the workflow. So it takes only a few minutes, so that whenever a sales rep marks a deal as closed won or closed lost, it timestamps the actual close date with that actual date and time. Or else most other companies actually key off of expected close date. But here I actually want to know when the deals closed. I want only the deals that closed and won in Q1 of 2017. All right, so these are the conditions. And then we have to select the fields. What is it that you want to show? Because I wanted to see the comparison of sales performance metrics among all my sales reps. So the row in this case would be assigned to. Assigned to would be the owner of the deal. And the columns here, so I have chosen by month. So what it's going to do is it's going to split up the data for January, February, and March. So in Vtiger, at the moment we don't have quarterly reporting. So you can either do monthly, weekly, or yearly. So I did not have the choice to actually enter quarterly, so that everything is shown in one column. So I've chosen by month, so that it breaks up Q1 into 3 months. And then I have to select what fields I want to see. I want to see the total amount of the deals that are closed by each sales rep, and the average amount, and the record count. When I say record count is the number of deals. That's what it actually refers to. And then if you click here, you can add, I can only select 3 items here, but if I take this out, it'll allow me to select other items as well. So I'll leave this alone for now. Okay, so then I just basically click save and generate report. Okay, it spit out all the data for my sales team. Here's Eric Mason, Isabella, Mark, Nathan, and Samir. So by in January 2017, you see the total opportunity amount, the average deal size, and the total number of deals. So we're kind of somewhat using the technical terminology because opportunities is actually referring to the module opportunity. And so I actually wanted this heading of this column to be the total deal amount. And here I wanted it to be the average deal size and number of deals. So it turns out that it's a little bit challenging to change the labels, and at least it's not trivial. So this is something that we will be working on to make sure that these pivot reports, the labels are not too long, because if you look at the column headers, they seem a little too long. And once you add other modules, the fields that pertain to other modules will have the relevant prefix. If there's an organization field, it'll have an organization as a prefix. All right. So I think that's something that we'll be cleaning up. And you'll see the same for February and also March for all of my sales reps. And I can also see the totals at the bottom here. Okay. So, all right. So 11 is the total number of deals. And the total sum was 138,000 in January 2017. And in March, it has actually gone down. And the total opportunity amount has actually gone down significantly here. And then once I start looking, I'll see that in January, Mark Hale actually did not have anything. Although in March, he did have one deal that he closed. Despite all this, right, in March, it turned out to be a weaker month in the quarter. Right. So this is actually a pivot report, and I want to show you how to add other fields. All right. So what I'll do is I'll add here organization name. I wanted to bring in the. Let me actually add the region first. Okay. So if I add the region and save, so it's going to break it up by region as well. So I added one more dimension now, and you'll see how difficult the report already becomes to read. So if you look at this for January, you have EU, Latin America, and North America. And for Eric, you have the total opportunities. In EU, he did not sell any. In Latin America, some. In North America, some, etc. So as you can see, if I add one more field, this report will be pretty much unreadable. All right, so let me do this. I'm going to remove the region, and I wanted to show you how to add a field that does not belong to opportunities, but it actually was pulled in from organization. So I'll say industry. So if you look at this, it's pulling it out of the organization's record, and I had chosen organization as my secondary module. So I do this and run report. It's going to break it up by all the industries, and this is going to be pretty much unreadable. If you had a few industries, it'll be easier. Since I had a lot of industries, it's going to be tough. So if I have banking, and in this is January, so you have banking, chemicals, electronics, entertainment, and a bunch of other industries. Right? So you can quickly see once you add a field onto the column that can take multiple values, the report becomes stretched out horizontally. I cannot add it vertically because these rows are basically used to compare the agents. So I would not want to add something here because that will become very difficult to actually read as well. So the idea is to make sure to understand what you're after and select only the critical things that matter to you instead of trying to mix and match too many things at the same time. All right, so I'm going to get rid of the industry and generate the report again. Okay, it's a lot more readable now. All right, so that's pretty much it for the pivot reports. Let's continue. All right, so I actually have the second poll now. if you can please take a moment and tell us what metrics or what KPIs are actually relevant for your pivot reports that your business may be already using or may need. I'll give it 1 minute. Okay, almost 60% have responded, so I'll close the poll. Thank you.
Hey, Krishna,
Yes.
while we're at a brief break point here, would you mind making me an organizer of the webinar as well? It seems we are unable to see some questions, and we believe that may be...
Oh, okay. All right, I'll do that right now. So attendees, staff, Kyron, so cannot take control. Okay, make Kyron presenter, make a panelist. Kyron, I'm trying to see how I can make you, all right there, organizer, right there. You should have it now. Okay, you should have it now.
Great.
All right, okay. Oh, sorry about that. All right. Okay. Okay, let's continue. Okay, let's look at detailed reports. So you would use detailed reports when you need a specific detail that pertains to individual deals. For example, if you wanted a list of all the large deals that were closed, either won or lost in Q1 2017, and you wanted to know what is the amount, who was the sales rep, what was the organization name, what was the organization profile rank, what was the industry, what activities went into these big deals, etc. The detailed report would be the report to use. All right, let's get back into Vtiger. All right, so I'm going to go back to reports. And here I have a second report that captures the top deals closed in Q1 2007. Actually, this should be 2017. So let me change that. All right. Okay, so we're going to walk through the same steps like we did before. I'm going to change this title to 2017 because 2007 would be very old. The report name is Top Deals closed in Q1 2017. I'm saving it in the same folder, Sales Performance Reports. The primary module is Opportunities. Secondary module is Organizations. Once again, I want to be able to pull out organization-specific details, specifically the industry, and also the organization profile, because we have the profile ranking. We had a webinar actually a few weeks back on profile ranking. So it identifies organization as a customer as based on a 5-star system. If it's a 3-star customer or a 5-star customer, or it's very relevant here because you're looking at deals that you either won or lost, and it would also be useful to know how important that customer was to your business. All right, so description would be capture details of the top deals that were won or lost, and share the report with the CEO. And here, scheduling the report, I've chosen the same, first of every month at midnight, and share it with COO, and share it in the PDF format. All right, so this stuff is pretty much common for all the reports. Okay, now this looks quite different from what we saw in pivot reports. So here we want to select the columns. Directly it's going to put you and ask you to select the columns, right? So first is I want to select the sales stage. The reason why I want to do this is I want to see the opportunities that were won, and then I want to see the opportunities that were closed, and I'm going to specify the amount of the opportunity for it to be qualified as a large deal. So what are the other details that I want to see? I want to obviously see the name, the amount, who the sales rep was, the organization name, and also the profile rating of that organization. So we're going to group it by sales stage. So once I do this, it's going to separate the deals won and the deals lost into two rows. That way it will be easier for me to visualize this. And I'm going to make it descending, which means that the deals won are going to show up first. Okay, and it will also allow you to do some calculations. For example, in opportunity amount, I want to see of all the top deals, I want to see the total, the average, the lowest, and the highest. All right, and then if I click next, then it's going to ask me the conditions. So what I'll do here is I want the amount, opportunity amount, to be greater than 6,000. That is considered a large deal for grass pods. And then I want to look at the actual close date. Here again, I want opportunities in the first quarter of 2017. So I've chosen here 1st January 2017 and 31st March 2017. Okay, the way to do this is you basically select this. You can select the dates here and then say close, and that will filter out the dates for you. And sales stage equals either closed won or closed lost. So I want to only look at opportunities that were closed, either closed won or closed lost. So once I'm done with all the conditions, I basically launch the report. And if you look at the top here, so the sum of all the large deals that were won is 400,000, and the average deal size was around 13,000. Minimum was 6,500 and max was 25,000. So all this data looks, fairly straightforward, nothing alarming here. And then what I can do here is, when I look at all the closed won, right here, every row is an opportunity that was closed and it was won. I can look at a couple of interesting things here. I can look at the opportunity amount, and the record currency and conversion rate are actually a little bit redundant, especially if you know you're reporting in US dollars. These two columns are a little bit of an annoyance. So I've actually asked my team if there is a way to disable them. At least at the moment, there is not. Then I know who is the sales rep who actually won the deal, and the organization profile rating. So it's this basically the first one, a $10,000 opportunity. That's a 2-star customer. And then let's see if there was any 5-star. Okay, there's a 5-star customer here, and the opportunity size was 20,000. And Ava was the one who actually won it. So I'm able to quickly filter in to the things that actually matter to me the most. All right, and then I start looking at closed lost, and I want to see if there is any 5-star customer that we actually lost. So the good news here at least is that most of the customers that were lost were either 3-star or 2-star. All right, even the closed lost deals, it's probably a good idea to spend a few minutes here. When I look at this $15,000 opportunity that was lost, and IQ Buds was the customer, and Isabella actually was the sales rep, and I happen to know that Isabella is actually very successful. And when I see her actually lose deals, so I begin to think it probably was a very difficult deal to win with, to win in the beginning, and it'll allow me to ask her actually what happened, if there are any challenges that we are facing with this particular customer, etc. So these are actually a little bit of an actionable insights once you actually start using the reporting fairly well, and then you know your sales reps fairly well, both put together. Actually, you can be very effective as a sales manager. All right, so this is what I had with respect to the detailed reports. Okay, this is the final poll, I promise. Okay, if you can please take a moment and respond to this poll. This pertains to what are the details that you want to capture for every deal that you either win or lose. I'll give it 1 minute. All right, thank you. I think we got almost 50%. Okay, thank you. Okay, finally, let's actually look at charts. So when would you use charts? I think this is something probably everybody knows. When you need a visual representation of data, you can either use bar charts or column charts. Typically what I do is when I want to compare performance across sales reps, using some key metrics, I use either bar charts or column charts. And pie charts I actually use for regional breakdown by revenue, breakdown of revenue by industry, etc. Okay, so let's jump back in. So I'm going to go back into reports, and then I'm going to pull out the first chart, and we're going to go through the same process. All right. So once again, what we do is we enter the name, the folder name. The primary module is opportunities in charts, and the selected module of selected organizations. Actually, this primary module, it by default it chooses opportunities, and it doesn't allow you to choose anything else. Okay, this I wasn't sure. Okay, so this I have to check with my PLM and ask why this is actually frozen with opportunities. All right. If you notice, it did not give me an option to actually share this report with other colleagues or superiors, and also it did not allow me to actually generate a chart at the beginning of a quarter or beginning of a month, because since it's a chart, it's basically generated as and when you actually need it. So let's look at the conditions. Again, once again, the sales condition is closed won because I want to look at how my sales reps have done in Q1 2017. So here the close date is in between January 1st, 2017 and 31st March 2017 as before. And then here I have chosen vertical bar chart because that's probably the easiest one to use to compare. And I want to group by assign to. Assign to would be the deal owner. Since I'm comparing my sales reps, I want the sales reps to be the owner. Every column has to pertain to a sales rep. And the key metrics that I want to see is the record count and the total opportunity sum. So these are the two metrics that I'm going to choose. And I'm going to go ahead and create the report, create the chart. And here it is. So I can see that, so the challenge with selecting two fields that have really different scales, like here, like number of deals is 5, whereas the total opportunity amount is 64,000. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a secondary scale so that these two can be separated, because right now 5, 7, 5, all of these, unless it's above a few thousand, these bars are not even going to show up. So what we are going to actually introduce a second scale on the right hand side to make sure the number of deals has a different scale, so that it's meaningful. When you actually look at the chart, it actually makes sense. All right, so this gives me a quick comparison of who is doing well. If I look at Isabella, she has closed over 100,000 and with only 7 deals. And whereas when I look at Nathan, it's almost half as much as what Isabella has closed, although he has actually worked on 6 deals. So it gives you a little more than just the amount when you put the number of deals and the total amount side by side across all sales reps, and assuming most of the sales reps are are of similar capability, it gives you a good scale to evaluate them. All right, let's actually look at a couple of other charts. Okay, so I want to look at, for Q1 2017, I want to look at the sales breakup by industry. So I go ahead and fill out all the necessary information, and I've also included organizations because the industry field is a part of organizations, so I have to pull it out of the organization's record. And the conditions is the same as before. I'm going to look at only the closed deals that were won in Q1 2017. And I've chosen a pie chart here. and I'm going to group by organization industry, since that's what I'm interested in, and I want to look at the total sum. How much money did each industry actually bring to my business? You can also do a number of deals, right? You can also base this on number of deals, and I'll actually show you how to duplicate this report, and with one click you can generate that chart that has the number of deals instead of the sum. All right, so this is the breakup of my sales in Q1 2017 by industry. Right, so if I look at this, if I hover over, it actually is going to give me the total versus how much this particular vertical had to contribute. All right, so this is also big. So banking looks like probably the biggest one, 61,000 out of the total of almost 310,000 actually came from banking. All right, so this is by industry and the total amount of revenue. So what I'll do is let's say I want to create the same chart, but I don't want the total amount, but I want the number of deals. I'll say duplicate, and I'm just going to call this one sales number of deals breakup by industry, and save and generate report. So here once again I think it's giving me a similar story. Banking has the most. Let me see if it actually did the, yeah, it has the, it's actually giving me the total. I'm trying to see why it did not take the record. Okay, sorry, I actually need to change this. This is the one that I did not change. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, this is the only one I had to change. All right, save and generate. Okay, here we go. So here it's showing me banking. Out of 30 deals, 5 came from banking, and if I go here, 4 came from entertainment, and so forth. So you can see, by duplicating this report, if you wanted to change only one parameter, it's easy to just duplicate it and then change that parameter, and voila, you're going to have the new report. All right, so that's, let me see if I had any other reports that I wanted to. Actually, there's one more by region. Yeah, so let's look at this. Customize. So here what I've done is I've created a pie chart for the sales breakup by region. GrassParts serves 3 regions, North America, EU, and Latin America. And then I want to see how much money came from each of those regions. All right. So the conditions are the same, closed won opportunities in Q1 2017. And I want to group by region since that's what I'm interested in. And I am going to look at the record count. I'm actually going to change this to sum because that's what I'm interested in. Okay, so you can see that 34% actually came from Latin America, and 44% came from North America, and EU contributed around 22%. Okay, so this is another example of a pie chart. When you want to look at some of your sales performance metrics by region or by industry, pie chart would be a good choice to use. All right, so now we've covered, sorry. Okay, so far we covered Kanban views, pivot reports, detailed reports, and charts. However, we have not covered sales insights, and we're going to do that now. This is probably the most exciting thing in the entire Vtiger reporting. Kanban views is great, but sales insights actually offers you a lot more. So I'm going to probably spend maybe 5 to 10 minutes, not more, and then we'll share the recording, as I said before, for the webinar that we did, a dedicated webinar for this particular feature. All right. So the way you get to a Sales Insights homepage is go to Menu, and under Sales, you're going to see Sales Insights. Click that. All right. So already you're going to start seeing some numbers. And what you want to do is you want to set the filters first. I want to move this out of the way. I don't know how to grab this. Sorry, bear with me. All right. I'm struggling with this. For some reason, it's not allowing me to move it. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. So we're going to set the filters first. So you basically click on this. This is the filter. And I want to filter all groups because you can actually choose which group here. What is pertinent to us is inside sales because that's the primary group that handles sales. And I'm going to include all the sales stages. And then you're going to filter by expected close date. And I want the expected close date to be any bit, we're going to look at a custom range here. So we're going to look at, let's look at last 90 days. It's easier to select. It's almost like the one, Jan, Feb, and March. All right. I want to make sure that first, actually hold on for a second. Actually, sorry. I think the data I have for insights is from last year. So I have to actually select this from last year. We're going to select Q4 of 2016. Sorry about that. And all right. So this is September 1st to December 31st. We're going to apply. All right. Okay, I think please bear with me here. So I'm trying to see why the date, expected close date is, no, it did something here. Sorry. September 1st, 2016. All right. To December 31st. Okay. There we go. Sorry about that. So this is actually the data that I used even in my original webinar. So we had preserved the data that I had used for Sales Insight. All right, so let's actually go through one by one. So with Sales Insights, you actually don't have to generate any report. All you have to do is select the filter criteria and the time period and all the data that everything you need to know about your sales team performance will be organized in a specific way. If I look at this, the total, this is the pipeline of open opportunities. This is a total of 56,000, and it's actually showing me how it's spread out among the sales stages, right? Most of the opportunities looks like, over 64% or in the qualified state. And if I look at ready to close, there is around 14% of the total opportunities are in the ready to close state, which is actually not too bad. But when I look at the win-loss percentage here, 61% win rate, almost close to 40% loss. We have 40% of the deals the team has actually lost, which is actually not good, because if you have a benchmark, say 30% of the deals that you have to win, it'll quickly tell you that there's something wrong for this reporting period. And then opportunity age is another important metric. You want to see where opportunities are actually spending most of the time. If I look at this, once it's qualified, it's spending 3 months in the qualified state, so which is actually very long. Whereas when I look at ready to close, it's still taking 14 days. Once an opportunity goes to ready to close, with GrassPods, even with our own business, we typically take 7 days, and if it's 14 or 21 days, that's actually pretty long. And then when I look at my top performers for this period, Isabella has closed 81,000, and Samir has closed 45, and Eric has closed 30. And let's scroll down and see what else is here. Now, if you look at the top open opportunities by amount, this one of them is assigned to Emily Wang, and the red dot basically is telling me that this opportunity has been idle for 4 months. So there's a good chance that this is already lost. So what I'd have to do is consult with Emily and make sure that if this opportunity is no longer alive, we should at least mark it as dormant or mark it as close lost. That way we don't spend more time on it. And it also shows the sales stages of the top 10 top opportunities, top open opportunities. All right, so it actually shows 5. And then we also look at key metrics of the top performers. Isabella has won 10 opportunities, a total amount of 81,000, average opportunity size, and the amount of time that she took to close, average amount of time she took to close deals was 2 months. If you look at the list here, hers is actually the shortest, also the total amount. But when I look at Eric Mason, he has actually closed 2 opportunities and the average size is 2. So he has closed 2 big opportunities, and also it has taken him 3 months versus 2 months for Isabella. So it gives you a lot of important information, including the sales cycle, the amount, and also the number of deals, the 3 really critical metrics for a sales rep. All right, and then we also want to look at top lost opportunities, because there may be some things that are glaring that you want to understand what happened. When I look at this first opportunity that was assigned, that was lost by Nathan, amount of 18,000, this is something that I'd follow up with and understand why and what happened, because it's a fairly large deal, and ditto with the second one. All right, so this is the dashboard of the sales insights. Now let's get into a few specifics. All right, I wanted to show a few things here. This is the chart, so I'm going to choose a maybe I'm going to change this date here to, I'm going to expand the time frame because we're going to have a little bit more opportunities to view. I'm going to take it March 31st, apply. Okay, so what this particular chart is showing is for your sales reps here, Ari Gale, Eric Mason, Emily, and Nathan Jones. So it's actually showing me what opportunities they have and how much activity is involved with those opportunities. The vertical axis, y-axis here, shows the amount. So the lower it is on the y-axis, the opportunity amount is small. The bigger the circle, the higher the activity count. That means that Ari, for this opportunity, has had 4 activities. This could be phone calls, this could be meetings, it could be demos or anything else. But if you see a small circle higher up, and if it's red in color, that's a red flag, which basically means that there's a large opportunity, but there is very little effort going into it. And when it is red, it basically says that there has been no activity on this opportunity for 4 months. All right, and this one is with Nathan. It's a large opportunity, and also it has the activity count is 4. That means Nathan has been actively involved in working with the prospect. Right. So this I think this is probably one of the most important charts that I look at to make sure that the bigger deals, important deals, are getting the right attention from the sales reps. All right, and the other one I wanted to show you was the sales funnel progression. So what this shows, you have all the sales stages and the deals are actually trickling down through the funnel. You want to know, whether opportunities progress into the next sales stage, or they get stuck, or they actually are lost or won. So when I look at new, there were 2 opportunities, only one of them progressed. Typically in new, you'll have a lot of new opportunities, and then I would say a high percentage of them actually is going to progress to the next stage. And it's unlikely you're going to win a deal from the initial sales stage. But when you go on to the later stages, like demo delivered, negotiation, and ready to close, from ready to close, I want to make sure that a lot of opportunities progression to the next, right, either closed won or closed lost, should be high. Here, the win rate from ready to close is actually only 33%, which is fairly low for this period. So this funnel, the way I use it is to understand where opportunities are actually dropping off, where they are actually getting stuck, and when they're ready to close, how many are actually getting closed. Okay, so one thing we don't have here is if you wanted to go from ready to close, if I wanted to see, let's say 66% of opportunities moved forward and progressed is 2, and I want to see which ones are those. If I click here, it would be nice to actually go into the list view of those opportunities to see, especially if they're not moving forward, if they remained, if the you're ready to close, and I'm looking for remain. Okay, remained is only 1, so I want to understand why it has not been closed. Clicking on this should be able to take you into the list view of that opportunity, of all the opportunities that have actually remained in ready to close. Right, so this is a feature, another feature that I'm actually requesting. This is something that has been coming to my mind as and when I'm actually using the Sales Insights more and more to make it easier for the rest of the customers as well. All right, so what other, let's look at one more, activity efficiency. All right. Okay, I'm going to open this up. So you can also use reports to capture activities. When salespeople make phone calls, when they do demos, when they have meetings, etc. So this is an interesting graph. What it will tell you is that how many activities are actually needed by sales reps to actually close deals. If you have here on the y-axis, average activity count to close deals. I'm going to close off a few here. That way it's a little bit easier to look at. And we have Isabella and okay, so we will look at just this. Samir, the average activity count to close opportunity was actually very small in October, and whereas in November it was higher. Whereas for Isabella, the average activity count, it actually breaks it up. Number of tasks was 1, emails was 5, and she's spent 6 hours on calls, and opportunities 1 is 6. So it breaks it down by how busy your sales reps are. Let me open up a couple more. Sorry. Okay, so this also brings, so you can select specific sales reps you want to compare. Okay, I want to see if I can bring in more data. So unfortunately, that's all the data I have. I think the Sales Insights webinar actually has more meaningful data, and it has gone a little bit deeper into this particular graph. All right. Let's look at this. Sales team performance, I don't want to look at because we spent a lot of time on it in reporting. Okay, so lost reason analysis. This is another one. If you make sure that your sales reps try and capture the reason why they're losing deals, you can actually go back into this report and identify the most common reason that sales reps lose deals. It may be even specific to a particular sales rep. You'll be able to get down to the bottom of the problem and understand why they're losing deals and for specific reasons, and maybe able to address the specific causes for why they're losing deals. All right. So I think I'll stop here because I want to leave some room for questions, and then we'll definitely share the link to this Sales Insights recording as well.